you guys are going to be learning about the different plans that we had during the Constitutional Convention. So the first one we have is the Virginia plan, and then we have the New Jersey plan. So this is just basically saying currently we only have a legislative branch. We need to make a 3-branch system. And next week you guys will learn about the executive and judicial branch. But this week we're just going to learn about our legislative branch, which is a pretty cool branch. All right, so one of the first plans introduced was the Virginia plan. It called for a bicameral legislature in which the number of representatives in each house would depend on the population of the state. So clearly your large states wanted this because they wanted their people to be represented. Virginia didn't want to be on the same level as like Rhode Island or something. New Jersey wanted a unicameral legislature. So bicameral means a 2-house legislature. So they wanted 2 houses based off the population of the state. And New Jersey wanted every state to have 1 vote and only 1 house. That's what unicameral means. So both plans, the only commonality really between them both is they call for a strong national government with 3 branches. So on your thing, you could just say simply something like a 2-house legislature based off the population of the state. And then here you could say a 1-house legislature base equal representation from each state. And then, it'd help if I had Virginia spelled right here. And then you just put which one that you like the best. Now you might be thinking, what the heck's the Connecticut plan? So then Connecticut plan becomes the Great Compromise. So you can click Virginia plan, you can click New Jersey plan, but you might want to check out Connecticut. You don't have to be from the state of Connecticut to like this plan. But the Connecticut plan are the Great Compromises that we're going to have a lower house based off population, and the people vote for it. And this became known as our House of Representatives. So this is why California, our biggest populated state, has so many representatives in the House, whereas Kansas only has 4 because we're a small state and California is a huge state. But in the Senate, the really neat thing is, it doesn't matter what state you're from, a little tiny Kansas or big old California, you guys each get 2 senators. So our Senate becomes the New Jersey plan, and this is the Virginia plan. They just combine them together. And we have a bicameral legislature. So what the House does is they pass bills, and once they pass through the House, they have to go through the Senate, and then they make it onto the president. So they have to go, like basically federal laws have to go through 535 people to get approved. So with that being said, you can say which plan that you like the best. And then here, this is going to be added. What is the Connecticut plan? I'm going to put or Great Compromise. This will be on your paper. You guys are going to see me put it on there. And over here I'm going to say a plan that combined the Virginia and New Jersey plan, making the House based population and Senate with equal representation. I mean, obviously, I like the Connecticut plan, but it's whatever. Okay, so this next question says, do you believe that slaves should have been used to count for delegates? And if you believe that slaves should have been used to count for delegates, do you believe that they should have been counted but not have been given the right to vote or citizenship status? So think about that. Like if you're from the state of Virginia, you probably want slaves to be counted. And you can say based off whoever your delegate is. If you're from South Carolina, you probably want it as well. But if you're from Massachusetts, you probably don't care because you have no slaves, right? So click on whichever one you prefer. And then basically what it's going to do is it's going to get you to the compromise thing, which we've already described, the Great Compromise. But we're going to learn why slavery was such a big issue here. So of 55 total delegates working on the new Constitution, 25 enslaved people. I think this was supposed to say 25 of them owned slaves. Many delegates believed slavery was wrong, like Hamilton and Franklin, but some who kept slaves also spoke out against adding specific sections in the Constitution protecting slavery. George Mason, who enslaved hundreds of people and stated every master of slaves is born pretty tyrant. They bring judgment of heaven on a country. So because of varying opinions, slavery was left out of the Constitution itself with the exception of the 3/5 compromise. So we're going to get to the 3/5 here pretty soon, but say what you voted on based off your delegate. So you can say here yes or no. And then here it says if you think that slaves should have been able to count as delegates, do you believe they should have been counted and not have given the right to vote or given citizenship status? Because this is what happened back then. So if you said that, yes, they should be counted because you're from the state of Virginia, explain what you think about this. Like, should we give them rights and count them as people? Because it was really just a big thing. Okay, so why would the larger states like an agreement of the House of Representatives? Because the larger states got more representatives. And then why would this should say smaller states, like the agreement on the Senate, every state had equal representation. And then bicameral is just a 2-house legislature. All right, so the 3/5 compromise, this is completely messed up. So in the Constitution, when they talk about slaves, they refer to slaves as persons. So it's for every 3 slaves, or for every 5 slaves, 3 of those people would be counted as for representation. So basically, people think of this as counting slaves as 3/5 of a person. They just use it purely for representation. That was it. So this is the most messed up math problem you'll ever do. So Virginia's population has 691,737 people. So back then you got a representative for every 20,000 people. So I want you to take that number, 691,737 divided by 20,000. You're going to find you get this 34.5868, whatever. We're just going to round it up to 36. Okay? So we're going to round this up to 36. And then their slave population is 292,000. So 292,000, 292,627. And we're actually, I know this says division, but we're supposed to actually multiply. So multiply this by 0.6. And you're going to get this number. So 3/5 of this number is 175,000. 576. So the reason why this is important is because now you're going to take this 1,075, 576 divided by 20,000, and that is going to be the slaves that they're going to use for representatives. So that's a total of 8.77. So that is going to be, we can round that up to 9. So basically, Virginia gets 9 extra delegates because of their slave population. So we're going to take this number 36 plus 9, and then that is their total delegate number, 45. And so those extra 9 people could sway Virginia's vote. So that's why they want it. They don't want to give them rights. They don't want to give them citizenship. They don't want to count slaves as humans. They just want to use them for their own advantage, like they've always been doing. So this is a really big, this is a compromise, and compromises can be good, but they can also be evil, and this is an evil compromise. So anyway, I just did this math plan. This is just simply for every 3 slaves, 2 of the slaves are not counted. I meant to say for every 5 slaves, 2 of the slaves are not counted for representation. Okay? And you are done with that. But here, you're going to answer this on your own. Do you think that the Founding Fathers could have made slavery illegal when they were creating the Constitution? Explain why or why not. Remember, about half of them owned slaves. So just think about that when you're answering that question. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.